my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely.
The best career advice I've gotten was from Michelle Letterberg, my boss and mentor for a lot of my career, and she said it's always okay to make a mistake. It's how you handle it that demonstrates your character.
The best advice came from Governor Sondland to me and the rest of the senior staff as he took office. He gave each of us a plaque that said, "Touch base with those concerned before taking action." And I've seen over the years that communication is at the heart of success.
Early on, a woman told me to build my business around my life, not my life around my business, and that would give me the stamina to go the distance, and she was absolutely right.
If you want to be the CEO, act like him. You know, act like you are as engaged, as interested, as motivated, as poised and professional as you can be. You know, work for the job you want, not the one you have.
Forgive yourself your mistakes and think about them, figure out what went wrong, make it a permanent part of your future and learn from your mistakes and just, you know, use them to grow.
I would definitely say the best advice is following your passion.
One thing my dad taught me was to find something that you love to do. And if you can find something you love to do, you won't consider it work.
The best advice I've ever received is from my father. Urged me to follow my instinct and start a business. He supports me 100% and basically said, you know, just go for it.
I think the best advice I've ever been given was to speak less and listen more.
If you want something done, ask a busy person.
You always reevaluate your goals, make sure you're making proper adjustments, always challenge the status quo.
I think the best advice I've received was somebody telling me to always keep a smile on my face. I see some people and they always tend to look miserable, and you know they tend to wear their emotions on their sleeves, and nobody likes to work with those people.
The bad advice that I can recall is a job before law school that I had where I was very enthusiastic and worked very hard, and I actually had someone tell me I shouldn't do my work so quickly because people would start expecting that all the time.
I've been told that you can't have it all. And I am a huge believer that when you tell me that, it's going to make me go even further to make sure I find a way to have it all.
As a young woman in the 80s, there was just a general message sent out that women could have it all if they don't compromise. And what I've learned over 30 years is actually you can have it all, but you get it by compromising. And that was, I thought, just a bad message to be sending out, the sort of stand your ground, don't give in.
I think the worst advice I've ever gotten is no advice at all. Madeleine Albright said that there's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women.
Somebody suggested to me that you should always let your manager win, and I just don't believe that's the right thing to do. I think you need to maintain your own integrity in the workplace and be true to what you believe is the right thing to do. And I mean, and there's a professional way to go about doing that without undermining the credibility of your manager, in my opinion.
Keep your head down and work, don't get involved, it's only a job. Those are the things that I've heard throughout my career and I've ignored, because to me it's never only been a job. It's part of my life.
I can't say that I ignored it, but I learned quickly that it was the worst advice, which was to take a job for money.
I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up.
I think it's the same as it was 2 decades ago. It's balancing work, family, and all those commitments that are uniquely to women.
One of our challenges is that we are still considered women business owners and not just business owners. And that's a wall.
I think one of the biggest issues is the corner office. And to get there, you need to have some finance background.
Because women play so many roles both inside and outside of the workforce, I think the strongest thing a woman can do to be successful at work is to have support behind her at home.
You are going to encounter some doubt, and you're going to have to prove yourself and have people take you seriously. And in order to do that, you just got to let it roll off your back and win them over with your time and with your skill set.
You can have it all. You can have a career, you can raise a family, but sometimes I think that still, carries some barriers on whether it's networking at night or there's a lot of extra things you need to do to be able to advance, and sometimes it's just very hard to do when you have a family.
Women tend to apologize too much. We don't find their male counterparts saying, I'm going to play golf, I'm really sorry, I'm leaving early. But when we leave early to take care of our children or do anything else for our own personal lives, we feel the need to explain it to everybody in the room.
I think it's a wonderful privilege that the women who came before us opened up all those channels for us, but it's also a huge challenge to be able to juggle all that.
I think there's still the gender gap. I think that women do not get valued and paid for what the amount of services and the education and knowledge they bring. I think men still get paid. I know men still get paid more than women in some positions.
I try to be fun, lighthearted, engaged with my staff. We're in healthcare, it's serious work. And recently I had a significant birthday. We won't go into which number it was, but it was a significant birthday. My entire staff dressed in black. I didn't notice.
I walked into a classroom and a little girl said, guess who you remind me of? I want to show you. And of course you're thinking like something nice, and she pulls out her moose and says, I named my moose after you.
It was early on in my career. I was doing my first presentation to my annual shareholders meeting, and I prepared to the very last minute. I had the right suit, everything, did the presentation, everything went beautifully. I'm walking back to my office, kind of patting myself on the shoulders. I turn around and look down, and I'm wearing 2 totally different shoes.
But honestly, my funniest story was looking out my office window one morning to see the top of a state trooper's hat. And 3 of the guys that I work with, they were looking at a dead fish wrapped in newspaper. And they really thought that it was somebody sending a message to one of the Pro-Am talk show hosts.
Instead of saying all the hard work we do to maintain our volunteers, I had said that we marinate our volunteers.
Every year we have a picnic that includes employees and their families. And Dale Klatzker, the CEO of the Providence Center, allows us to throw whipped cream pies at him. So we all pay $1 and we can throw whipped cream pies at him. So the first year he did it, people were a little anxious and hesitant about doing it. So it was very nice. I got to throw the first pie. So it was, might not be the funniest thing, but it was certainly a lot of fun, and then it opened it up for everybody else to do the same. Did you enjoy throwing that pie? It was kind of fun, I have to say.
We were on our way to a client. It was a nice summer day, and we were just kind of debriefing before the meeting, going over the agenda. All of a sudden, my coworker looked back, and I wasn't there. I had caught my heel in the sidewalk, tumbled to my knees, with everything sprawled on the sidewalk, and was trying to recover from that.
When I started implementing healthcare reform, I had somebody at Blue Cross say wanted to come work with me and help me on this, and I called her up and I said, I have a great opportunity for you. I'd like for you to work on healthcare reform. She laughed and hung up on me.
We were in the factory, and it was an executive at the time. He's no longer with us, but he was on the phone on an important phone call, and his chair literally flipped backward to the point where he was still sitting, but his head was resting on the ground, his knees were up in the air. And I looked over at him because my initial thing was like, are you hurt? And he was fine, so I just cried laughing. He stayed on the phone. He stayed on the phone and he said, oh yeah, Tom. So I go, get off the phone, hang up the phone.